Hello everyone, Christina here. Welcome to another weekly live stream here at my YouTube channel. You might be able to hear here or there, we're having crazy wind outside. So hopefully we don't have any internet interruptions, but just in case that does happen, that's probably what's happening. So just one little housekeeping item before we get going here, or actually two. Well, one's kind of related. The first one is the Celebrate class at onlinecardclasses.com. Starts in 1 week from today on May 19th. We'd love to have you join us. Myself and 4 amazing guest artists and instructors are teaching lots of celebration and happy birthday and congrats cards and just everything in general. So go on over to onlinecardclasses.com and check out that class. There is the link down below if you'd like to see any info about it. And all of the products for the class are still in stock. So if you wanted to sign up for the class today and also purchase the class kit, or if you just want to get the class kit items and not take the class, like, you do you. But those are shipping immediately. They can get out the door and you could possibly get them before class even starts. So if you have been on the fence, wondering if you want to join Celebrate, now is the time. Now, of course, if you are watching this replay weeks later or months later, years later, who knows when, you can still participate in that class as well. Those classes, once they're up and on the onlinecardclasses.com website, they don't go away. So if you are by chance super busy next week, you're out of town, you're like, I don't want to take that class, I'm not going to be home for it, you could still take the class. You can view the class lessons after the fact and do them at your own pace. It's completely up to you. Everything is pre-recorded, nothing is live, so it's a really low pressure class. As far as I know. So I hope you guys will join us. So that's the first bit of housekeeping. The link to Celebrate is down below, and you can check that out. The other bit of housekeeping I wanted to mention actually takes us right into today's card, which is I had a brand new release go live on Friday. So many fun products for the month of May. I'm going to be using I guess just one bundle. I'm going to be using one of the bundles tonight to create a card that I showed, but I'm going to create it in a different color palette just to show something a little bit different from what you've already seen. So let's switch to the overhead. Hello, I'm up in the corner now. So this is one of the cards that I showed in my walkthrough video for the May 2025 release. I loved taking this card. It was a little bit time consuming because it was a lot of like stenciling and stamping and things like that to create my own background, but I think it's so worth it. So I thought it would be fun to recreate this, but in a different color palette. So I was also in love with this color palette that I used on a bunch of other cards as well. So I thought I would do like purples and pinks kind of, and then I'm going to change up the greens and do more of like a teal aqua green, like it's a little bit more of a bluish green. I thought that would be really pretty. So we're going to change it up and do this today. And I'll show you how to use the stencils that come with this bundle. I mean, you can buy the stamps without the stencils, but I think the stencils make it so easy. Let's jump into actually working on the card today. So this is the stamp set. I have the dies. There's a die for every single stamp in the stamp set. And then we have some stencils here for coloring in the flowers. So we'll get into it after I've done my stamping, but all of these little elements are labeled. See how it says flower 2 medium? For the flower, you need a light, medium, and dark ink. And for the leaves, you need a light and dark. So I've labeled them, it's just a suggested, way for doing all of your stenciling. But of course, you could do whatever you'd like. But these are just the ones that I thought would be useful. So let's start with stamping flowers. I am going to use my stamp wheel, though, because I discovered, especially for like when I'm going to have like a big stamp kind of coming off the edge of something, having a really large surface area works well. Like you could definitely do this in a MISTI, but I just find doing it in a stamp wheel, I find it so much more convenient and a little bit easier. Okay, so I'm going to take my little stamp plate, my wheel plate off, and I've got some Ballet Slipper cardstock that's cut to 5 by 7. All right, let's see here. Let's work on, how about this edge first? So I'm actually going to move this over and put it against that edge and just press that down really well. And then I'll take my flower stamps. Now I'm being kind of, I don't want to stretch these stamps too much as I remove them from the sheet because they're supposed to match up with the stencil, right? So we'll just do that right there. And then this one right here. That one's a very solid one. Okay. So we'll just put this up here in this corner. I'm kind of eyeballing like what is going off the edge here. That looks like that's about right. About like that. And then down in this corner, we need this to come in about like that. And I can stamp both of these together at the same time. Okay, let's see here. Pick that up. Now, I don't want the lines of this stamp to get really blobbed out when I go to stamp. So I'm going to maybe even have to stamp each one of these twice and keep the lines really, really fine. Now, our friend Sika, who might be in the chat, I don't know if I've seen her yet, she swears by Versafine Clair. She says that it's better than my regular old stamp by the Versafine Onyx Black. She says it's better. I'm still testing that. They seem about the same to me at the moment. So I trust Sika. She's an amazing crafter. I trust her. So here we go. You could also stamp this, you know, like you could do a gold. Ooh, now I just want to do it with embossing powder. That's okay. All right. Flip this over. And I'm going to use my little stamp press just to go over that. All right. Looks like I missed a few little leaves right there. Much better. Okay, I think I'm getting a little bit of ink. For all of my cleaning of the stamp, I think I got a little bit on it. Yeah, do you see that? Hopefully once we get ink blending our colors on, it won't show too much. Okay, back to Versafine. It's a very light hand when I'm putting this on. And then when I go to stamp, I'm going to keep it very light as well, because I don't want it to blob out and be too thick in some areas, if that makes sense. Looks pretty good. There's a little spot right here that I feel like it needs to be pressed down a little bit more. There we go. Perfect. Stamp all inked up. I do like how thick the stamp pad is. I do like that in comparison to the Versafine. I do feel like I have a little more control over it. You know, this would be really pretty, like stamped in Plumberry. Don't you think? Lovely. That was a perfect stamp. Okay, we just need this that little spot. Ta-da! Now this ink, it is a pigment ink, so it might take a minute for it to really dry so that it won't smear while we're doing our stenciling. So I'm going to hit it with a heat tool. Why not? Okay, so like I mentioned, the stencils have labels on them, so you know exactly what you're going to be stenciling. Let's start with the large flower. And let's see. So right here we've got flower 1 dark. Do you guys see that? Flower 1 dark. And then Flower 1 medium. That's hard to see right there. Flower 1 medium and flower 1 light. I like to work from light to dark, especially in cases like this where I'm going to be using similar ink colors, because then I can use the same blending brush. So I'm going to do that. So using our lovely little grip mat here, I might have to move this around. I'm going to start with flower 1 light, and you just kind of have to look around and be like, okay, where are all these little pieces? There we go. To line it up. Kind of get it in the right spot and then just press down on the grip mat. So my 3 colors of ink for the flower are Ballet Slipper, Briar Rose, and Plumberry. Starting with Ballet Slipper. Okay, I'm just going to come in and start adding this Ballet Slipper. And I won't even worry about cleaning my stencils until we're at the very end here. All right, we've got another instance of this flower right here. The flower 2 light, so that, here we go. Since I am using that same blending brush, it's this one right here. Okay, and then we have, okay, so let's go to medium. So flower 1 medium, it says right here. Do you guys see that? Flower 1 medium. There we go. And let's see, for the medium colors, I am using Briar Rose, which I think is kind of just like a little bit of a darker pink. Okay, and I'm not like doing any fancy blending on this. Of course you could have a little darker in the center and have it lighter on the outside. I'm mostly just getting, you know, just a flat wash of color. Oh, it's already taking shape. I love it on top of this Ballet Slipper. It actually comes together really quickly. You could, of course, like watercolor the flowers, but I think the stencil makes it so fast. Okay, so this is flower 2 medium. That same Briar Rose shade. Okay. Oh, I love that. It's so pretty. So now we're going to the dark on each flower. So let's see here. We have flower 1 dark. Got like adhesive stuck to it. So flower 1 dark. It's easier to line up this one since it's the last little section we need for the flower. So it's easier to quickly find your spot. Okay, so Plumberry. Okay, and Plumberry, it's a new ink pad. It is very juicy, so I'm not coming in hot directly from the ink pad. I'm kind of dabbing it off on the stencil and then coming in, because I don't want it to collect in the corners of the stencil and be way too inky. You know what I'm saying? And I can pick up this ink from the stencil when my brush gets a little bit too dry. Okay. See that completed flower? Oh, I love it so much. Adding a little more of the dark right in the center. There we go. I think I will clean this stencil just because I got the Plumberry a little close to where that stem is going to go through. So I think I will take a moment and clean my stencils here in a minute. Okay. Oh, I love that so much. Looks like I have my stencils a little off right on that edge. So I'm going to come in and just get that edge a little bit. There we go. Add a little darker spot, which I'm okay with. It may seem tedious to sit here and like reposition the stencil over and over, but I really find you get a better result if you do that. Oh, I was just thinking, the long line leaves background from last month, from April, wouldn't it be fun to do that as the background? And then you do these either masked and they're in front of the leaves, or maybe you do these and then die cut them. Stop it. That might need to happen. Okay, we've got this little bud over here that's still hanging out uncolored. So we'll just get him positioned just right. There we go. Super easy to do that one. All right, so I'm just lining up these leaves down here. This is the lighter. So I'm going to grab Tidepool, or re-inked, I should say. So I'm going to go like this, just pick up a little bit of that ink. It's probably going to be a lot. Yeah, now I can like concentrate the color a little bit. And this one can be a little bit harder to line up because it's a lot of leaves kind of all over. I think that's about it right there. All right, so this is Tidepool. This is the first of the two colors I've chosen for the leaves. Oh, so pretty. I'm so glad I re-inked this, even though I'm just picking up ink from one corner of the ink pad, because I'm not having to go back 5 million times to get more ink. Okay, and then we've got just a little bit of leaves right up here. Ta-da! Okay, so now we're going to do all of the darker leaf areas. So going back to flower 1, leaves dark. There you go, now you can see it really well. I'm hoping my Juniper has recently been inked. Oh, it's good. Actually, it's really not. It's kind of dry as well. That's okay. It's not as dry as Tidepool, so I think I can make do. There we go. And I need just a little tiny bit up here in this top corner. So as I've been doing computer work the last few days, I've been listening to like music either in or inspired by Bridgerton. It just makes me want to rewatch Bridgerton. Does anyone know when the next season comes out? I was hoping that is there going to be another season this summer, or do we have to wait another year? I'm vaguely remembering someone saying we'd have to wait till 2026, which makes me really sad. But you know what? I'll just rewatch. You know, the last season of Bridgerton is just completely wrapped up in my head with my cruise that I took with Jennifer, my friend Jennifer McGuire, because we actually watched, like, I gave her the condensed summary of the first 2 seasons of Bridgerton because the 3rd season was dropping, like, when I think there were like 2 or 3 days left of our cruise. And I was like, girl, I'm going to want to watch it. So I got her watching it with me, and then we watched the entire 3rd season together. We had a lot of downtime, okay? Oh, 2026. Dang it. Oh, that's so pretty like that, though. You know what? It's making me want to add a little bit of like Briar Rose around the outside edge, just with a little bit of ink blending. Ta-da! Okay, everything's... I want to do just a little bit of really soft ink blending in off the sides. Just like blend it in from the corners just a little bit. Just like really softly. So it'll make the the center really glow. You know what I'm saying? Once again, I'm working on Ballet Slipper cardstock, so it already was a little bit of a pale pink. Making sure I don't have any ink on my fingers while I'm holding it right there in the center. So now I'm going to grab the Plumberry, and I'm going to be really, really careful with this because I don't want it to come in and overwhelm it. So I'm switching to a purple brush. Okay. I might even switch to a different brush. Like, this is a really soft brush, but it really disperses a lot of ink. So sometimes it's hard to control. I'm switching to this one from Simon Says Stamp. Let's see. Yeah, I feel like I can have it go on pretty softly, but it's keeping it to a smaller area. You see that? Just so it's like adding, and then I can come in with the larger brush and really soften out the blend. I feel like this brush that has more condensed bristles, like shorter condensed bristles, I think it adds more ink all at once. But for like a super soft blend, I really like those 1-inch brushes from Pinkfresh. Okay. Shai's asking if I have different blending brushes for different brands. I do not. If the brand, like if the ink is a dye ink like these are today, I have, and most of my inks are, I used all the same blending brushes. However, the one brand that has their own dedicated blending brush is Distress Oxides. Now, the original Distress inks, those are dye, so I would use these same brushes. But for oxides, I use their own brushes. So they just have one set of brushes dedicated to them. And it's just like, you know, the colors of the rainbow, you know, like, you know, I just have a purple brush and a red brush and pink brush, things like that. Okay. That's really pretty. So dramatic. Wow. We're done with all of our ink blending. Now all we have to do is put it on a card base and add a gradient. Originally, I was thinking of having some Plumberry cardstock. Like, here's the original card that we're kind of basing this one off of. And I just did black. I was thinking I might do Plumberry, but maybe... What if it was matte gold with white embossing powder, and then I did a gold frame around the outside edge? I think that could be really pretty. All right, so I'm going to load up this gold cardstock with anti-static powder. White pigment ink. Yeah, I think I'll do white pigment ink. And then just press that down just lightly. Oh, beautiful. Oh, that's going to be so pretty. You know, gold, like white on top of the gold cardstock, works so well. Look at that. That is just gorgeous. All right, I don't want my plate to leave any marks on it, so I'm going to switch to my very clean plate. Put this one down here. And it did flatten the embossing just a tiny bit, but not too bad. I mean, look at that. That looks beautiful. And I've got ink all over my hand. A7 thin frames. And I might as well just cut both at the same time. All right, so I'm going to cut the outer frame as well as the inner frame, and I might as well get them pretty centered because I could possibly use the frame that's cut in between. Oh, lovely. One way that makes it really easy to adhere the thing on there, the frame, is I'm going to put just a little bit of, well, it's actually a permanent adhesive, but I'm going to take a little bit of the tack off of it. But you put it down like this. You get it kind of centered. This is just the interior that was cut. And then all I have to do is bring this in and I get it lined up right away. I'm doing just like some little dabs of glue right up close to where I'll be adhering the frame. I thought about doing a line of glue, but I think at that point I'd have too much glue squidging out, you know, because it's a really thin frame. Okay, and then I can just take my frame, get it lined up just right. And I'm going to hold it in place a little bit until the glue starts to dry. And then I can just peel up that interior piece. So now I can peel this piece up really carefully. And then I'm left with just my frame. And it's on there perfectly without a bunch of, you know, fuss. So I'm just adding a little bit of glue right around that edge. Oh, I forgot my greening's not on there yet. Just slid right off. Hour and 15, not bad for a card from start to finish. So here is the finished card for today. I love the different color palette and just changing it up from the original card. We added the frames, we added the ink blending coming in from the sides. Just adding a few little details like that can make it look a little bit new, but also, you know, still reminiscent of the first card. So I think that turned out pretty well. Once again, the colors used on this were Ballet Slipper, Briar Rose, and Plumberry on top of Ballet Slipper cardstock, which is kind of fun. And then I just use gold for the frames and the grading. So thank you so much for watching. Just a reminder that the Celebrate class starts a week from today. You can sign up at any time and the products are available. The kit for the class is still available as well. Thanks so much for watching and I will see you all in another video very soon.